Okay, welcome everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to our SunScrapers stream. My name is Janeta. I am head of HR and employee branding at SunScrapers. Our company is a dev shop based in Warsaw, Poland. We create mobile and oh, sorry, we have some technical problems. That's should be okay. Yeah, so I was talking about our company. We are a dev shop which creates mobile and web apps for clients around the world. And we are also huge fans of knowledge sharing. For example, we support the biggest Python event in Warsaw, which is PyVath. We also contribute to open source. You can check our Joser project on our GitHub. And we have a tradition of creating technical talk every Thursday inside our company. And lately, we've decided to share it with you guys, so we hope you like it. And today, the presentation will be about Ansible deployment using Python 3 by Piotr, our mid backend developer. And it should last something like 10-15 minutes. And after that, Piotr will answer your questions. There will be 10 minutes for your questions. So we hope we will answer most of them or maybe all of them. It's important you can ask your questions on our YouTube chat. If you could put them in English, that would be perfect. And I think we are ready. We can start right now. So here we go.
Hello, everyone. I am Piotr, and today I will introduce you to the aspect of Ansible deployment using Python 3. I am going to focus on the Python 3 aspect. So if you are counting on introduction to Ansible, you should probably head to the Ansible docs, because this presentation is too short to cover such things like explaining what the playbook is or what the Ansible is. So let's get started. As you can see, in this presentation, we'll pretty much only cover the Python 3 aspect. And firstly, I will tell you why Python 3 is the tool you should use for your Ansible deployment. And then we'll head to what's different in setup, what's different in configure, and how to run your deployment pipeline. So yeah, let's get started. So yeah, Python 3, why should you even care about it? Because as you probably all know, Python 2 works pretty well with Ansible. So why is it important to switch, as the title says of this slide? Well, Python 2.7 will be marked as end of life pretty soon. So yeah, it is pretty old. It is marked to go end of life in about 2 years in 2020. So this is not really much time to switch, right? Also, one of the reasons which are pretty important is that some frameworks, for example, Django, has recently moved to Python 3 exclusively. So you might have problems if you would like to keep your code base with Python 2. Yeah. Also, Python 3 in 2008, which was a long time ago, and there was a lot of time already to make a switch, and most of the existing tools and existing libraries and existing frameworks have already made an effort to support it. So yeah, there's no reason to stay at Python 2. So why is it better? The primary reason why, from the Ansible deployment perspective, it is better to move to the Python 3 is that you no longer need to add the Python 2 support to your Ansible deployment, so you no longer need to hack your pre-tasks in your playbook. You no longer need to use roles for that. Especially as most providers like DigitalOcean provide Python free package out of the box in the Ubuntu installation images. So that should just work. Also, Python free will most certainly be supported for quite a long time, not just 2 years as Python 2. Also, this is highly opinionated, but I believe that Python 3 has quite a better improved syntax than the Python 2 had in many cases. So this is useful if you write your tasks using Python. Now, as always, there are downsides of migrating, and here it might not be really obvious at first. Some roles might simply not work out of the box. You might need to introduce some changes. You might need to do some research why it does not work. So, for example, the PostgreSQL role is almost working, but there is one tiny detail that needs to be done. I will show it a bit later. Also, some additional effort is required to make it work, to set up your deployment, to configure it, and I will also show what needs to be done in a minute. Now, the setup process. How do you actually get started? First, you need to meet some basic requirements. Obviously, Python 3 needs to be installed on your operating system. It needs to be installed on your host system. Also, you obviously need Ansible installed in your virtual env. However, there are two things that may not be obvious at first. I would actually recommend that you install the most recent available version of Ansible, because there might be some issues that were not resolved in previous versions, which might happen because the Python 3 support to the Ansible has been introduced quite recently. Also, keep in mind that when you install the Ansible into your virtual env, you no longer need to set up additional virtual env for the Ansible itself, which is pretty convenient. Also, quite obviously, you will need an SSH client or PowerShell on Windows. So these are the basic requirements. Now, when you actually set up the deployment, here is pretty much how we do it. We add the deployment directory to the root directory of our repository project, and there we have three directories called tasks, templates, and vars. And well, tasks is pretty much you could call it the set of playbook utils and set of handlers. Pretty much, you could explain it like that. The templates directory contains the template files used, for example, for UWSGI config, which will be used for the setup. And the vars directory contains Ansible Vault and a few configuration environment details. Now we have also three files called environment ini, which contains the inventory file for a given host. So if you know what inventory file is, you should know what this is about. Also, we have roles. So we store what the roles are used in this deployment pipeline. And also we have site.yaml, which is used as a playbook, which uses tasks, templates, and vars. And it is it's a bit simplified, but that is pretty much how we do it in some scrapers. Now, how do you configure? What's the difference between Python 2 and Python 3? The first difference that is quite important is to add a specific Python interpreter to a given inventory file, to a given host. So when the Python 3 is being used on your given on a given host during deployment. So that's the primary difference. Also, as I said before, there are some changes that are usually necessary inside the existing roles. So I have two recommendations in here, that you install the latest possible role versions, because it might happen that a given version released might not contain fixes which are already in repository master. So yeah, you might have to live a bit on the edge in here. Besides that, some roles require offline changes because they haven't yet introduced the changes which would make them work with Python 3. For example, as I mentioned before, the PostgreSQL, Ansible PostgreSQL role is missing a dependency for Debian-based systems. So there is a pull request in the repository, however, it has not yet been merged, unfortunately. Now, in case of playbooks, probably the only thing you have to keep in mind is to drop Python 2 installation, because it is not necessary anymore. And besides that, most playbooks will probably just work out of the box. So there is no need. In most cases, there is no need to take care of anything in here. Now, the process of running such Python 3 Ansible-based deployment is pretty simple. Just run it as you usually are. There are no differences in process of running. There is no special flag that needs to be added. Just do what you have already done. Or yes. And that is pretty much all I wanted to cover in this presentation. Thank you very much for the time you have spent listening to it. And in case of any questions, please ask them on the YouTube stream, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Okay, let's see if there are any questions. Okay, I can see we have some first questions. Piotrek?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, there are no signs of Ansible team dropping the Python 2. I believe that it will probably stay for at least until the Python 2 goes end of life. So most certainly right now there are no signs of Ansible team trying to drop Python 2.
Okay, if there are any other questions, we are waiting. I think YouTube has some delay. Okay, we also have a few people sitting with us here. Do you have any questions, guys, or everything is clear for you? Okay. Okay, Piotrek, so I think we can finish right now. But if you have any other questions, I think you can... Oh, there's another question. Okay. Do you have an example repo?
At the moment, we have one private repository which contains Python 3 based deployment. We might open source it, but yeah, not right now, because there's still some effort that needs to be done in our own roles. So it might take some time.
Okay. So if you will have any more questions, you can ask them on hello@sunscrapers.com, and I think Piotrek will answer all of them. Okay, so guys, we would like to thank you for joining us. We'd like to inform you that we plan to do it every week or every few weeks. So if you would like to be updated about any future live streams of Sunscrapers, you should follow us on our Facebook account or Twitter account. So there will be all info about that. And I also recommend you to join us and subscribe our YouTube channel. If you liked Piotr's presentation, there are a lot of them which we recorded previously, and you can watch them right now. A lot of technical talks, but also some marketing stuff or management stuff, so you should check it. Thank you very much, and see you next time.